Okay, when I first moved to England, it was 2016, and Donald Trump had just won in America. Now, you have to understand, I'm 54 years old, and I never watched The Apprentice. My only interaction with Donald Trump was in the 80s and in the 90s. He was constantly in the newspapers, like totally screwing up, bankrupting everything, making claims that were proven wrong. A lot of the things that came out during the election, like him calling in radio stations and pretending he wasn't him and then talking himself up, we had already heard and stuff. I mean, it was nothing new. So when Hillary lost and he became president, at that exact time, my family had died, like my mother, and then 7 months later, my father. And I had met a girl in England, and she had gone through a tragedy herself. And so online we were talking because we had things in common, and we had met playing a common video game that we both played. And then we talked on Facebook like normal people and kind of introduced ourselves. And then we started talking on Skype and different phone things. And I thought, no better time to get a visa and experiment what it would be like outside of America than now. My family's gone. I don't have anyone else, and I don't have children. I was 45 years old at the time. I made plans to get a passport, which I did, which was a big problem because when I got to airports, no one had seen apparently a 45-year-old with a brand new passport. And so I was questioned everywhere about where I was going. And also, I didn't really have a flight home yet. I had planned to come for so many months within the legal amount and then go back home. But I didn't know when. Could be a week, could be 3 months. So after going through a million questions and being held up, they released me from the airport into England. I came here, and it was really different than little town Florida, where I am from. And so I was kind of in a larger city where that girl I talked about, who's now my wife, lived in. That environment in Northampton was kind of odd to me. It was totally different aesthetic than I'm used to. So I got over that, and I really loved it there, and I really loved her. And so in the end, we decided that we were going to get married, and I did the typical immigrant thing. I came to England, I took one of your white women, and I married her, and I went through the visa process. And after 6 years of right to remain, I applied for citizenship. And in 2024, I got my citizenship. Like anyone, I paid the dues, and I took the test and that type of stuff. And yes, there is a test, and it's kind of odd. There's like real British history you have to actually know, and there is religious history that you have to know. I actually failed it the first time and had to retake it. It's 150 pounds every time you have to take this thing, and you can only fail it so many times. So, anyways, I wanted citizenship with the passport and not just right to remain because I feel like that status can change with politics. So, anyways, at that time here in England, they were going through leaving the EU. Now, the Brexit was very similar to the Trump thing. It was just kind of right versus left, very loud voices on both sides. So it was kind of the same political environment I came from. So it wasn't nothing new. And so I just went on about my day, and life, did its thing. And we got married, and we went through the system, as I said. So now here I sit in 2026. We own a home. We have found a destination in England that we like living in. There is family here. My wife's father-in-law and mother-in-law ended up moving into this city as well. So we have lots of people and support around us. And it's a beautiful area with lots of rich history, lots of things going on. Now, after I got here and over time, myself, who has never had an operation, who's never been hurt, has managed to fall down and permanently damage my knees. When I say permanently, like one only bends 10%. I've had operations. But due to my age and being, I surfed and I skated a lot growing up in Florida, so there's a lot of damage there already, I'm sure. So this unfortunately happens, and it puts me in this kind of strange ability, my mobility's kind of gone. Now I am a citizen. I could file for disability and all that, but I've decided to not do that yet and to continue on trying to earn an income online and doing other things. And now I'm working on my yard, trying to get my body back in shape because I basically took a good year off due to the knee injuries and I didn't move hardly at all. So like all my muscles became very weak and I gained weight. It's horrible. But now I'm on the mend and here we are a year and a half later and I'm going out in the yard and ripping down walls and redoing driveways and back to somewhat normality. But I have to say the difference between being an American and living in England is really the difference between living in the North and the South in America. It really is. It's not much of a difference. As a matter of fact, all the northern states where I'm actually from are named after the cities here. Dover. I was born in Manchester, New Hampshire. So there you go. In Dover. And I grew up in Dover, New Hampshire. And then we moved to Florida as I was later on in life. And then I lived in Florida until 45 years of age, and then I come to England. And now I've spent a decade in England. But the system here, though not perfect, is still better than home. The whole thing with the socialized medicine, it's for an American is appealing, but they do take the money out of your paycheck, and you're still paying a couple $100 a month if you make a good income. But the reality is it makes private insurance really good because their number one competitor is the NHS service. So there's A, no deductibles. B, no copays. Here's a perfect example. I've lived here for 2 years, and all of a sudden this lump came up in my throat. Thank God, not cancer, but it had to be removed, and it was close to my jugular, and it was a tricky thing, and I didn't want to use NHS, so I used my private health insurance, and without no copays, within 3 weeks this thing was removed. I spent a night in the hospital. They slit my neck open, took this thing out. Recovery program. Medicines were prescribed to me through the NHS after, so they were only £9 per prescription. You could get a cancer pill here or an aspirin for £9 through the NHS. So if you use private insurance, and by the way, the plan is only like $150 a month. It can go up to 200, and they can't raise the rate for you using it. Now there are pre-existing rules and stuff, so you can't just like come in here with cancer and jump on that system. But still, it's way better. It's less expensive. It's more affordable, and it gives you the peace of mind that you have the NHS and you have a backup through private if needed. So there aren't any waits or anything like that. Because the reality of politics is socialized medicine can be held up through not being paid and strikes and that type of thing. And it's just same goes on in America. We have nurses that strike and everything else. But the difference in the government is really, really strange here and different. It's massive. I think they have like 5,000 seats as representatives of the people. It's and it's kind of like a home. It's spread out chaotically, so you can't. It's really hard to keep up with. So they're basically playing where's the tax money under the shelves in front of you, with all these different people and processes and things involved. And there is a lack of true, as an American would see it, freedom of speech. If you say certain things here online, you can go to jail for 4 years. I mean, so your words are listened to here, and you need to watch what you say. You're not free to just ramble off at the mouth like a lot of Americans do. But overall, most people, when they find out that you come here, will go, at first, when I first got here, why would you come here? And then they go, from Florida? Oh, they don't realize what it's like to live in 40-degree or 90-degree weather day and night, and everybody is dead of skin cancer or prostate cancer, one of these three cancers that seems to go around in these areas. So Florida is not the grand destination you really think it is. Now here in 2026, we've seen the reality of what's in the American food, and the cost has gone up immensely. So a lot of people here are like, bump that. I'm not going to America and pay all that money and eat a bunch of poisonous food. I mean, some still will, but the reality is a lot of people are like, yeah, not a good time. Let's not go there. So it's not a popular destination at the moment. And I really, if I'm able to get away with it, I tell people I'm from Canada. I mean, I haven't told too many people that, but and it's hard for me because I have a southern accent. I moved here at 45, so I'm not losing it. The reality is it's best to maybe let my wife speak. um, it, I have noticed that here, though, the first thing they'll ask you though is, where are you from? So if you come here, be prepared to be asked a lot of questions. And the conversation of Donald Trump comes up in a lot of, like, if you go to the doctors or something like that. I've sat in a doctor's office and the doctor and the nurse is asking me about the medical system and Donald Trump and what the hell's going on over there. And so it's a lot different. But here's the reality for Americans. You can own guns here. If you duck hunt or you go to a gun range or you're a gun collector, you just have to fill out paperwork and you have to register what ammo you have at your house, and it has to be put in a safe manner, and you have to have a reason to have it. You can't use it for self-defense. You'll go to jail. If someone breaks in your house and you blast them, you're going to jail. That is all there is to that. But at the same time, if you want to go hunting or something like that, you can. And in my neighborhood, I live kind of in the farming sector. They ride around on four wheelers and stuff. Living here in the farming section is like living in Northeast Florida. There's just a lot of land of farming and rednecks. There's lots of trucks here. There's all kinds of stuff. But it's definitely different, and it's not for everyone. But America is far from the destination right now. If you have an opportunity to leave, check out the UK.